Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Revenant Wristwatch, where we bring watches back from the dead. Today we're working on a Casio G-Shock. This is obviously an old, well-loved model. It's a Pathfinder. The specific model is PAG 240. The first thing I like to do when I'm working on watches is get the watch band off. This has an interesting lug setup. You know, it's not the typical pry bar type thing. It has a set of screws that, when you turn one side, it turns both sides. So I'm gonna have to get two screwdrivers here and hold one while I turn the other. Oh, golly, that thing's on there tight. Okay, God, man, can you see how gross that is? So a friend of mine, Matt, gave me this watch to work on. He said it's been in a drawer for years, and he, just needs a battery replaced or whatever. But it obviously needs a big clean too. Let's see. Okay, well, you know what? We can work on it with the watch band on. So we need to get the case back off here first and see what this looks like on the inside. Hopefully the inside's not as gross as the outside. Let's see. Okay, you can't really see much. So we've got some sort of little gasket here on the case back. I'm sure it helps with water resistance. I'm not sure. I would imagine a watch like this. I didn't do any research on it or anything, but I would imagine G-Shocks and sport watches like this are expected to be water resistant to some extent. Actually, I think here on the back, okay, it says it's water resistant to 10 bar. So that definitely helps with the water resistance there. Okay, got to figure out how to take this thing apart. I start with the sensor here, just because I'm trying to find screws to loosen, and there were two obvious ones there holding the sensor in. This watch, it'll check for I think barometric pressure. There's a thermometer. It'll check for I think altitude, and I guess this sensor somehow detects all those things. Yeah, so taking apart the sensor definitely did not make it so that I can take the movement out. So I see more screws, so we'll try these. I'm gonna remove these 4 screws here on the front to take the bezel off. So I got those loosened off. You can see they're a little bit shorter than the case back screws are. It's good to kind of remember those things when you're taking a watch apart. This little thing here, maybe I can pull on it. No. Okay, well, let's go back to trying to take the front bezel off. I got those 4 screws out, and it's definitely loose now, but it still doesn't seem like it. I don't like the way that button is moving around there. Let's avoid that. Okay. Oh, there's part of it. Oh, golly. That's pretty gross. Sorry, Matt. But that's pretty gross. All right. Well, the crystal still doesn't seem to want to come off. So let's move back to the movement side. Let's get these little springs. These springs, I'm not sure what they're for. Surely they don't hold it in. Maybe I can kind of pry along the edge and find something that will let this movement come out. I could just replace the battery. It's right there on the back. but the whole thing needs to be clean. So I need to get the movement out. Okay, and there we go. I found there are little tabs that go all the way around it that hold it in. It is still connected to this sensor though. Put some finger cots on here while I touch the actual movement itself. I don't know if you really need to. Okay, so that just pulls out. Hopefully I did that right. I don't really know. And I don't know if you need to have finger cots when you're working on a. Okay. These things are rugged, right? You can drop them. I don't know if you have to have finger cots when you're working on a quartz movement, but yeah, I put them on. So I took that little. It's just a cover that tells you a little bit about the battery. I took it off to try to see what's underneath, and I can tell that again, like I can tell that this is supposed to come apart here, and it should hinge. I just can't get it to work. You can see those two kind of bar. There's the circle that I'm working on that's covering the battery, and then there's two bars to the left. That should be a hinge. It should come apart here where I'm kind of digging and hinge there, but it doesn't want to. So let's look around, and yeah, I mean there's a clip here we can try. Okay, that came off. I mean, it looks like this whole silver metal piece here is connected. Maybe the whole thing will just come off. I don't think that's how you're supposed to get to the battery, but maybe we can make that work. Okay. Yeah, this is looking like it's gonna work. Okay. Now let's gently, because I have no idea what's underneath this, try to pry a little bit. Carefully remove this whole back cover here. It kind of works like a cage. Like there's two plastic pieces to the watch, and this metal cage holds both of those pieces together. So I want to be careful and kind of keep those plastic pieces together if I can. This is definitely not a how-to video. You may watch this and think, oh, okay, that's one way to do it, but it's okay. There we go. Well, that came off, but I guarantee you this is not the correct way to do it. Yeah, well, and I don't know if you noticed, right when I pulled the battery off, one of those little springs fell off too. Those go in between, and it took me a really long time to get that placed back where it was supposed to go. The other ones ended up falling out. I eventually got them back in, but be careful. So with the movement out, I can remove these little C clips, like the letter C, not C like the ocean, that are holding the adjust and light buttons in. I can't get the front bezel off. Okay, there you go. You can see the little C clips here. I can't get the front bezel off without removing those adjust and light buttons. So with the C clips out, let's see, there we go. The rest of the front bezel should come off. Man, I mean, yeah, it needs a bath real bad. So we're gonna put this through the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm a little worried about the plastic parts, how they're gonna hold up through the ultrasonic cleaner and the cleaning solutions. But I mean, it can't be any worse than the way this is now. They may get faded. I would imagine some of the finish will come off of the plastic, but just it's got to get all of that grime off of there for this to be a usable watch again. All right, so it's been through the cleaner. You can see some of the parts there. I forgot to take some video, but you can also see the kind of the plastic body there. See how gray it is compared to the black band. It definitely lost some of its finish in the cleaning process. I just used the regular L&R cleaner like I normally do. It's sort of a degreaser, and then put it through a couple cycles of IPA, isopropyl alcohol. It's just a very concentrated alcohol. It's not like you buy for, at Walmart or CVS for wound care, for scrapes and bruises and scratches. It's a much more concentrated version of alcohol that doesn't have hardly any water in it. So we're gonna put the sensor back on first, and you can see that I don't know if you noticed the color, but I feel like the sensor held up okay. Color wise, the mode button got very faded in the cleaning, but the sensor cover and the other three buttons, they held up all right. So we'll get the screws back in here, and the part that faded, the kind of the main watch body there, that got gray, it will be completely covered by the bezel and by the back, the case back. So I'm not too concerned about it. One of the things that was really frustrating was cleaning. When I cleaned it, I didn't realize that there were basically two crystals. There's one in front and one behind. And after I cleaned it, there was water in between them. So we're going to put these C-clips back in real quick. And they're really, really hard to pick up. I'm going to save you all of that. I spent a lot of time trying to get those C-clips off. So anyway, I was cleaning it and there was water between the two crystals, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to get either of them out. I was digging at them for a while, trying to get them out. I eventually pushed from behind, kind of pushed my fingers through. And when I did, it broke the inside crystal. The inside crystal was clear, except for it had a very thin band of color around the outside. And so it broke, and I had looked at replacing. You can't buy just that one part. You have to buy basically a whole new case. And I talked with Matt, and he said he did not want to pay I think it was $100 to get the whole new case. So we decided to skip it. So you'll see, for our keen-eyed viewers, you'll see that it's just a little bit different. So get the movement back in. It just kind of clicks into place here. You do have to make sure that right here, where the mode button is, there's a little lever that wants to not go into place. So if you just reach down here like this, move it while you push down, now the mode button works. See, and you can see where it's faded. And you can also see where the other three there did not really fade like the mode button did. Why did the mode button fade and none of the rest of them did? No idea. All right, so it's in place. So one of the things that little cover said also is that you need to touch that little screw and the battery at the same time. And you hold it for, I think it said 2 or 3 seconds, and somehow that magically makes it work. I don't know. I don't know if it, sets a ground or, discharges some, a little bit of electricity. I don't know what it does, but it definitely says to do it on the cover, and it definitely does not work until you do it. So let's get the case back on, get the gasket in place, and then we'll put the back cover, not yet. We need to put this thing, whatever it is, it needs to go on, and then we'll put the case back on. This was like I said, it was a watch from a friend. He said he had it in a drawer for years and hadn't worn it, and wanted to see if I wanted to play with it. It was really frustrating that I couldn't get the bands off. I think I just needed a bigger screwdriver, or bigger screwdrivers, 2 of them. And plus, when you're doing heavy torque things on flathead screws, it's just the worst. If you're like me, I wish that flathead screws didn't exist. Why can't they all be Phillips or torque or something other than flat? So for some reason, when it first turns on, it wouldn't set for me. It does end up setting, but I had to just leave it for a while, and I don't know if it acclimated or what. But you can see in here, this area here, that the second crystal was glued in there. That's why it wouldn't come out. I didn't know it was glued in. So when I pushed on it, it broke. But these 2 parts go in. The black part is sort of like I don't know if you call it a gasket, or what you'd call it, but it holds the crystal in place. I'm sure, again, it adds to the waterproofness, but it also just secures it so it doesn't move around. So let's get the crystal cleared off. I'll be honest with you. I've been working on this for a minute. Actually, I think that was 13 minutes according to the watch there. Pushing on it. You can see a part from another watch over there that I used to try to apply even pressure. Really, this should be done with a crystal press. I don't have a crystal press. If you don't know, I'm very new at this. Definitely an amateur. And it needs to have even pressure applied, or else the little black plastic piece wants to squish out one side or the other. If you push it on the left, it squishes out on the right, type of thing. So I think I've got an idea. I've got this mason jar lid, and I'm going to try putting it on and pushing. Okay. I think, yeah. Huh, that worked. All right, great. So let's get the other part. I guess, I don't know if it's a 2-part bezel here. Let's make sure it's in there good. So I don't know what you call it, the inner ring of the bezel. Get it put on here, secured. It's just friction fit, which means you just apply pressure. And like I said, you can see around the edges there where it's missing that trim piece or whatever you would call it. But for everyday use, I think it's going to be just fine. It most definitely will not be as waterproof or as water resistant as it would be if it did have the inner crystal. But I'm not too worried about it. He doesn't, as long as he doesn't go swimming in it or anything like that. He should be fine to wash his hands and those type of things. So you can set the time zone that you're in. Here's the first option. So you click along and you're literally moving through the world of time zones. You find your time zone, tell it if you want it on daylight savings time or not, whether you want a 12-hour or a 24-hour time to be shown, and then another click of the mode button, and you can set the time. And then you just repeat the process. Keep pushing the mode button to set all the different things. This watch does a ton. I don't have a user's manual. I didn't read, try to look one up. You can hold the button to, just like you do pretty much any digital clock, and it'll scroll through, set the year, that type of stuff. So, it needs just a little bit more cleaning. So I've got some IPA here and just a piece of pegwood, and I'm just going to go around and, and give it some extra little scrubbing here, I think. Yeah, let's do this for a minute. It's the little things for me. The details matter, and I don't want something to be mostly clean or pretty clean. I want to, if the thing I'm doing is cleaning, I want it to be clean. All right, let's take a look at it now. Yeah, I think that turned out pretty good. It's a working watch. It's a lot cleaner than it was when I got it. I think Matt's really gonna like it. Yeah, what do y'all think? Like the YouTubers say, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. As if you need a reminder of what it looked like beforehand, let's put a clip in here. Yeah, that's what it was like before. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. If you have any suggestions of things I should have done differently or ways I could have done it better, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for stopping by and watching as I brought this watch back to life. Thanks again. See you next time.